Fun fact of the day, penguins are not real penguins. Instead, they are named after real penguins. No, seriously, look it up. Hey kids, welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank and I hope that you are having a great day. My apologies for the hum you are probably hearing. I have a space heater down there. It's very cold in here and I need my toesies toasty. Anywho, in today's video, I felt like following up on some of my previous videos. You see, ever since I put out videos talking about Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and then another separate video on Flesh and Blood, I've had some people asking me about my opinion on some other card games, and I figured, like, I should tackle them kind of one at a time, as I did with the Flesh and Blood video. So, in this video, I'm going to do the one that I am happiest with, the Neopets Battledome TCG, and then in future videos, as long as there's still interest, I will handle other card games kind of in whatever order I happen to think about them in. So with that all said and done, let's get started with Neopets. So for those of you who don't know, Neopets is/was a very old web browser Flash game that you could play at any time, log in, and just have fun with your collectible digital pets. And I and many others have extremely strong nostalgia for Neopets, and we just absolutely love anything to do with the IP. Now, a long time ago, Wizards of the Coast actually made a Neopets TCG. It has since been shelved, and they haven't done anything with it for over a decade. And that card game was pretty good. It wasn't the best, but the art was great. The core mechanics were solid. The balance of the game was pretty good. And it had several sets, but like many other card games on the market, it has since died. And I would love to do a video about that at some point in the future, but getting a hold of the original Neopets cards in any significant quantity has proven to be very difficult, since they are highly collectible and thus quite valuable. Which brings me to Battledome. When I first heard Neopets Battledome was announced, I was absolutely ecstatic. I love Neopets, and I'm absolutely crazy about getting cards for Neopets. And I had already made some videos on Battledome on my channel already before I did the move, before I moved here. And my overall opinions haven't changed. However, I do feel like I need to clarify on some of my points. As I stated previously, I do believe that Neopets Battledome is a very fun game to play. The core mechanics are easy to understand, the gameplay is easy to follow, and it feels very rewarding to just kind of plan ahead in that game in regards to the different rounds of battling your Neopets. And I feel like there's a lot of potential complexity, which would make it an appealing game for more hardcore players, but at the same time, it's clear that the game is designed for the casual audience because of the forced integration of the dice mechanics to how battles are resolved. Now, I don't think that means necessarily that there can't be a competitive environment. It's just that the game is, by design, more focused towards casual play, which is always very enjoyable. It means that you can't just build a deck containing the best cards ever and steamroll all of your opponents. There is a luck factor in place that allows even people who aren't fortunate enough to have the best cards ever to win some really good matches, which makes it a very fun game for people like me who don't necessarily have the time to get out there and get all the good cards or study the best strategies. It's a fun, casual game, is what I'm trying to say. The other thing is, all the art's been pretty good so far. I've not found any art in the game that's been really bad. It all has that classic Neopets style that first drew me in when I was a kid, way back in the day. And I feel like art is a very important part of a TCG. I've said this before, that brand identity, IP identity, is pretty important to ensuring that your card game remains not necessarily collectible, but recognizable as it is. And the unified art style that Neopets has is very refreshing to see in a modern TCG, especially when so many have kind of a loosey-goosey art style that can kind of feel very different between cards. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. After all, Magic does that, and I love Magic the Gathering, but it is nice to see a card game that all the cards look like they belong in the same kind of fantasy cartoon world. Another plus is that the boxes are very affordable. You can pick up a box of Neopets right now for $70 to $80, and you can build most of a deck with just one box. I've already done it myself. It's very enjoyable. The starter decks are $10 to $20, I think, and that gets you the full play experience right there. The only real expensive cards are the Super Chase rares, Jadora, the Fairy Queen, etc., and that's fine. I think any TCG should have highly collectible, more expensive cards. After all, if you don't have people performing the chase, then less boxes get open, which means the TCG is more likely to die. So I'm very happy that while the boxes themselves are cheap, there are still cards within those boxes that people are hunting for. That's a good sign for any TCG. However, I cannot sit here praising the game forever because I do have concerns. And the big one is Upper Deck Entertainment. For those of you who don't know, I have an extremely negative opinion of Upper Deck. In fact, I believe they are even worse than Wizards of the Coast, which is something you might be shocked to hear considering how I feel about Wizards and how publicly I am with my opinion about them, but I sincerely believe that Upper Deck is worse. And the main reason is just that it feels like Upper Deck, even more so than WotC, is allergic to money. You see, not only are they very opaque when it comes with advertising their product, but Upper Deck is also really bad at getting that product into the hands of the end user, the consumer. And they've always kind of had this problem. It wasn't as pronounced or noticeable when they were in charge of Yu-Gi-Oh, for instance, but for a lot of the products they've made after they lost Yu-Gi-Oh, it's been kind of noticeable that they're not the greatest when it comes to getting their stuff out there and ensuring that their card game, like Neopets, has the best chance of long-term survival. Just as an example, it was very difficult for me to get any information about Neopets Battledome up until like the week or two before release, just because Upper Deck is really that bad at getting information out there into the public. If it weren't for some friends I have on the distributor side of things, I would have basically never heard about it until after it had already released. And I consider that to be kind of unacceptable for a company that's as old as Upper Deck. I mean, sure, maybe your experience is different. Maybe you heard about Neopets well in advance, but I check as often as I really can into TCG news, trying to see what's out there on the market, and it feels like Neopets Battledome kind of hit me like a brick wall. I was super excited, of course, but I was like, whoa, why am I only finding about this now? And to further complicate that, you know, it's not a good sign when customers are finding out about a new product from your company from a secondary market source. I found out that there is a new set coming for Neopets Battledome, and I found out about this set on eBay when I was randomly looking through some listings for TCG boxes from random card games. Listing for the next set that comes out this month on the 15th. I saw that. I was like, why am I finding out about this on eBay? Why am I not seeing this on their blog? Why am I not getting this as an email from some TCG news source? Like, what's going on here? This is terrible. Why are you like this? It feels completely unacceptable to me that that's even a situation that could happen when someone's actively looking for news about your product and they find out about it on eBay. Don't let that happen. That's terrible. I cannot stress enough how that is just something that should not be happening, ever. And that really is a big concern, because if nobody finds out about your card game, it doesn't matter how good it is or how enjoyable it is to play. If nobody knows about it, it's fucking dead. And I don't have exactly a huge reach on this channel, but I am trying to put the word out there that Neopets is out and it is very fun to play. And all I can do is hope that enough people get that message, because it doesn't really feel like Upper Deck wants people to know. It feels almost like they don't want people to know, in fact. I do have another minor complaint, that is the card quality. I've opened a bunch of packs for Battledome so far, and it's very difficult. It's going to be very difficult to get any card in near mint condition perfectly out of the pack, because it feels like these were packaged very poorly. And I feel sorry for anybody who's getting these cards graded, because getting a PSA 10 or even a 9, I feel like is going to be very difficult with the overall card quality going on here. I'm hoping that future releases and future print waves are going to be better, but in my personal experience, a lot of the packs I've opened have had quite a few notable dings and dents on some of the cards, which is noticeable to someone like me, but maybe for other people it's fine. But I just feel like Upper Deck has been in the business long enough to not let that happen. But that is a more minor concern of mine. After all, I just want to play with the cards. To summarize my feelings, I think Neopets Battledome is a good TCG. I think it's very fun to play, and I look forward to playing it with my friends whenever I have the chance. However, I do not like Upper Deck as a company, and I feel like with how they do their business practices, especially in regards to how TCGs are released, I don't think Neopets Battledome has the best chance at surviving for the long term, which is unfortunate because, again, I do think it is a really good game. Maybe things will change in the very near future, and they will get off their asses and start actually advertising their game and making it easier for people to get a hold of it. But until then, I'm going to remain excited but pessimistic, if that makes sense to you. Anywho, that's all for this video. If you enjoyed, please consider liking, sharing this video with a friend, subscribing to the channel, leaving a comment, and all of that good stuff. Remember, for every like this video receives, I will be doing a push-up in the next video. And if you have a TCG, RPG, video game, etc. that you'd like me to talk about, let me know in the comment section below. And remember, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. My last video got 37 likes. That's 20. That's 37.